Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol, and welcome to Northern Scotland, the North Coast 500, and the new Audi e-tron GT RS. Now, it's safe to say that Audi flew us all the way to the north of Scotland to drive the North Coast 500, some of the most amazing roads I've seen in some of the most beautiful, beautiful scenery in a really beautiful car. I attended the online launch of the e-tron GT earlier this year, and the photographs and video I saw, you look at it and go, that's going to be a good looking car. When you actually see it in the flesh, it is an absolute stunner. There's so much detail, so many intricate lines and bits of interest to the car, and in this tactical green colour, I just think it's a stunning, stunning looking car. Very sleek and aggressive from the front, very wide and purposeful sitting on the road. Now, I'm going to do a whole bunch of technical stuff when we're out and about driving, but just look at the thing in this landscape. It doesn't get much better. Although it does. The rear view is excellent. Do you know, it might be quite windy up here, but look at it as a location. I don't think I've ever filmed a walk around a car in such a beautiful place. We've even got snow-capped mountains in the distance, a beautiful Scottish loch, absolutely stunning. But the rear of the car, for me, starts actually with these big, wide hips. You can see them in the rear view mirror as you're driving along, and it just makes you feel like you're in a car that really means business. I love the rear tail lights. The styling details in there are absolutely stunning. The light bar goes all the way across the rear. There's a spoiler that lifts just there. There's a beautiful kind of carbon fibre detailing around this diffuser. But then, as a GT car, for me, you need a car that's pretty practical as well, and this boot is huge. Apologies, it's full of all of my filming gear today. I've even got a packed lunch from the guys at Audi, which I haven't even started to eat yet. I've been so busy filming. But there's plenty of space there, making this car a really usable GT. But it's a four-door coupe GT. There should be plenty of space in here for rear passengers. So let's see, shall we? Wow, there's a load more space in here than I thought there would be. This seat's actually really comfy as well. This seat in front of me, it's got this kind of sculpting in the back, which gives me lots of space for my knees, and I've got far more headroom than I thought I was going to get, which is really deceptive because from the outside of the car, it looks so sleek, it almost doesn't look like it's got seats in the back at all. You'd think it was maybe like a 2+2, but it's not. There's plenty of space in here. But this car is all about what happens up front, so let's jump in the front. I'll talk to you about some of the gizmos and gadgets in the cockpit. This is a very nicely laid out cabin. It's clearly going to be very Audi, but there are some really nice touches. These seats are so good, so supportive. I think they look really nice as well. I love little details like this gear changer. It's, again, a new design for Audi. I've not seen that before. It kind of, sometimes you want something to put your hand on and rest your hand, but I do quite like that. But the driving position you can get in this car is excellent. There's beautiful details, the choice of materials in here. There's a lovely carbon fibre with a matte finish on the dash, the normal Audi MMI with virtual cockpit. It really is a very, very lovely place in here. It is all touchscreen. There are a couple of buttons down here for your drive select and your climate control, but everything else is touchscreen. There's no jog wheel as such, but it's beautiful. In here, took me a while to find it, but there is a wireless charge mat for your phone. Kind of goes in and then tucks down to the side. That's quite cool. But yeah, it's beautiful. But we're in such a beautiful place. The driving roads around here are so incredible. So let's head out onto the road, get driving, and I'll tell you more about the powertrain and this car. And well, there's some mega things about it, but there are also some things to try and be balanced and fair that I think could be improved. The first thing to say is I've never been so far north in Scotland, and it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just look at that. Wow. I mean, I'm here to do a sensible review of this car, but to be honest, it's quite difficult not to get distracted by the beautiful, beautiful scenery. Now, much of the route that we've got to drive today is part of the North Coast 500, one of those bucket list items that I've wanted to do for such a long time. And today is just basically confirmed that I absolutely have to do all of the North Coast 500 because it's absolutely beautiful. Oh my goodness. So at the moment, I'm just in comfort. I have done a fair bit of driving in the car today already. I wanted to get a feel for it before I turned the cameras on. Now, this is the most powerful Audi that's ever been made, but it doesn't feel like that when you're in comfort mode. It's a really smooth, quite comfortable, relaxing car to drive when you're not pushing on, when you're not, giving it the berries. The throttle response is instant. I know everybody says it whenever they drive an EV, maximum torque from 0 RPM. Well, it's true. And the headline figures for cars like this are always the 0 to 60, but for me, actually, it's not about 0 to 60 time. For me, it's the mid-range acceleration you get in a car like this. The kind of 30 to 50, the 40 to 60, the acceleration you need when you want to get past something quickly. That's what this car is absolutely all about. And it's a lovely kind of dry road, and when you do push the squirt button, it's really impressive.
The e-tron GT and RS e-tron GT both share a dual motor setup, the front motor providing 238 PS in both cars, with the rear providing 435 PS in the GT and 456 PS in the RS through a 2-speed transmission. The sum of these exceeds the total output available for each car, however. The GT uses a total of 476 PS and the RS a healthy 598 PS. In boost mode, this can be increased for 2.5 seconds to 530 and 646 PS for the GT and RS respectively, with the RS having 850 Newton meters of torque. In boost mode, 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 4.1 seconds in the GT and just 3.3 seconds in the RS, with the top speed governed to 152 and 155 miles respectively. When using launch, the rear axle uses the first gear to improve acceleration. In normal driving, it will pull away in second gear to help efficiency.
The suspension setup is excellent. You'd think in a kind of sporty performance GT like this that it might be a little bit firm, but it's not. It's just so good. It soaks up the bumps, but when you get to a corner, its handling and cornering characteristics are just so composed. It's got a lovely feel to the steering, but for me, it's the suspension. You get in this car, and literally within the first 2 or 3 miles of driving it this morning, I just thought to myself, this car, the ride quality is exceptional. Just look at this scenery. Wowzers. Now, this is an electric car. It's all about performance and range and so on. What I would say is I expected a little bit more range than this car is giving. At the moment, I'm only doing about 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which for me could be better, although I guess this is a performance-oriented EV. So I kind of forgive it a little bit, but I would think it would do a little bit more than that. And range-wise, it's a cold day, and we're probably going to get about just over 200 miles of range. And I think that is still a bit of a challenge, because if I really do push on in this car, if I have a heavy right foot, I'm going to chew up those electrons really, really quickly. And if this is a GT car, then it just needs a little bit more than that for me. So let's go into the Drive Select program and put it into dynamic mode on this lovely bit of road by the side of this loch, and just push on a little bit more. The road manners in this car, very, very good. The steering feel is lovely, and it gives you a lot of confidence. It's a heavy car because it's an EV, but that weight is low down, and that kind of helps things out quite a bit. But for me, it's just the way it rides the road. It's superb. Like, when I say superb, I mean really, really superb. Oh, and it has that GT-esque feel that you want from a car. It's really good. I have heard this described as the best car Audi have ever made. And I do kind of get that. I've driven lots and lots of Audis, plenty of performance Audis as well. And for sure, you're missing that theatrical soundtrack you get from most RS cars. Well, actually up until this point, all RS cars. But it makes up for it in other ways. The instant torque delivery, the performance, the feeling of composure on the road is very, very RS-like. God, this car's good.
The lithium-ion battery system at the heart of the e-tron GT, an RS e-tron GT, is located between the axles, keeping the weight down low to a near 50-50 weight distribution. The 93 kWh battery pack has a predicted WLTP range of 295 miles for the GT and 280 miles for the RS. Braking efforts of up to 0.3 of a G are performed by the electric motors recuperating energy. The disc brakes are only used during heavy braking. AC charging up to 11 kilowatts is standard, enough to charge the vehicle at home overnight. With an optional onboard electric charger available shortly after launch that will increase this to 22 kilowatts AC charging. The car supports rapid DC charging of up to 270 kilowatts, with a 5 to 80% charge possible in just 23 minutes, although in the real world this is more likely to be 40 to 50 minutes on a 50 kilowatt charge point.
Now, it would be rude of me not to try a launch control, a nice straight bit of national speed limit road. So 3, 2, 1, go. Whoa, 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 whoa! 60. Oh my goodness me. That is impressive, because normally when you launch a car, an internal combustion engine car, you get the revs and like, and then you let it go. With this, of course, it's an electric car, so it just sits there, makes no noise whatsoever. You doubt yourself that it's actually going to do it, and then when you let your foot off the brake, that was unbelievable. Now that, with the overboost, when you do a launch in the RS version, that is the most powerful production Audi ever made, and it certainly felt like it. Oh, I want to do one of them again. The only challenge with doing lots of launches is your battery pack consumption is going to go up a lot, and your range is going to go down a lot, and that's not a good thing. Now, the enhanced sound that you get in this car is a really, really good one. And it's not just on the inside, it's on the outside of the car as well. You can actually hear these cars coming down the road. And I think it's a really nice balance. It's not trying to be an internal combustion engine car. It's just a really good noise. Now, I've got the normal Audi Drive Select program, and I have to say I've been in efficiency mode a fair bit today, just to try and eke out the range. But also, when you go into the individual setting, you can choose the damper, whether or not you want the dampers to be comfort or dynamic. And for me, the comfort setting is the one for a British B road. It's very, very good. Dynamic, though, isn't too firm to be uncomfortable. So if you wanted to push on, if you wanted just that little bit of more of a firm feel through the corners, then the dynamic dampener setting isn't one for just billiard table driving. It's actually pretty usable. But when you get a nice flowing stretch of corners like this, and you can feel the car. What I don't feel in the car, which I thought I might, is I thought I'd feel the kind of a heaviness, a kind of cumbersome feel to the car, and that's just not the case at all. Dynamically, it's really very good. The brakes are excellent as well, although on the public road like this, I never really need to hang on them. I've got the little flappy paddles behind the steering wheel on the car, and that's just like in all the other e-trons I've driven. That just allows you to vary the amount of regenerative braking coming into corners. So rather than braking, you can just, on some of the lighter corners, just increase the regen braking and retard the car and charge the battery at the same time, which is always a good thing. Oh my goodness me. Every corner I turn round up here, I'm going, oh wow, look at that. It is stunning up here.
Here in the UK, the e-tron GT range starts at £79,000 on the road, which comes with a lot of standard kit. Or tick all the boxes with the GT Vorsprung for £106,000. The RS range starts at £110,950, with the RS e-tron GT Carbon Black at £124,540, and the range-topping Carbon Vorsprung coming in at £133,340. A range in price across the models of over £50,000 means that I think it's time to hit the configurator and start to play with all the options available to choose your perfect e-tron GT.
So what are my final impressions of the Audi e-tron GT RS? Well, overall, a very, very impressive car. I think it's a beautiful thing to look at. It's just so slippy and sculpted and stunning. It's got such lovely lines. The interior, very impressive. Big boot, loads of rear passenger space, which I didn't expect, and a very comfortable driving position. Loads of tech, lovely choice of materials. For me, I still think the range is disappointing. I think the efficiency, it's such an aerodynamic car. I can't believe that I can't be getting more miles per kilowatt. But then, hey, but maybe that's because it's a more performance-oriented drivetrain. But all in all, just a brilliant car. And these roads, well, these roads are sensational. If you haven't done the North Coast 500, you really, really need to. We've got snow-capped mountains in front of us, and I think actually we're about to drive into some snow. So I think that's a really, really good place to finish this video. I have to say a massive thank you to Audi UK for inviting me up today to come up here to Scotland to drive the car. Absolute privilege to drive such beautiful roads in such a great car. I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Bed for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. Take care, guys. Drive safe.